Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot, and this is the final Grandstand of 2022. And we're going to kick it off with style by talking about the 2022 Constitutionalist Year in Review. For those who don't know what that is, basically it's something I'm going to do on a yearly basis now. And, yeah, it's basically going to be what I've personally done for the year when it comes to Second Amendment and constitutional rights and stuff like that at a state or federal level. And for today's episode, we're basically going to cover what I did in the year of 2022 when it came to 2A rights and just the Constitution in general and everything that happened with my life throughout this year and stuff like that. So, so basically, first and foremost, starting out in January, going back to really, December of 2021 into January 2022, we were fighting for constitutional rights here quite heavily for constitutional carry specifically in the state of Ohio. And we were going to try to do 22 and 22, but unfortunately a bunch of idiots decided they wanted to fuck around for long enough to where Georgia beat Ohio for the 22 and 22 moniker. But that being said, we did become the 23rd constitutional carry state of America in 2022. And then, of course, Indiana became 24. And then Alabama, in about 5.5 hours from now, will be the 25th officially. That being said, when you look at it, actually how it was signed into place, KIV technically signed Alabama's as 22nd. Georgia's was signed as 23rd. Ohio was 24th. And Indiana was 25th. However, when they actually went into effect, Georgia was 22nd, Ohio was 23rd, Indiana was 24th, and now Alabama will be 25th. So, but yeah, going back to that. So, January was fighting hard, telling the lawmakers what was up, be like, hey, you guys need to get this passed, you need to get this passed, you need to get this passed. And eventually they did. They eventually got it passed. They eventually got it through the chambers. And, by the time that things were happening there, specifically actually going back to 2021, it was on December 14th of 2021, which was the, I believe, 9-year anniversary of Sandy Hook. You had the state Senate basically passed their version through a committee and stuff like that. And you had all these moms and main action types who used to live in Connecticut that have now moved to Ohio and stuff like that. And honestly, in 2023, to move their asses back to fucking Connecticut at this point, for real. Get the fuck out of my state. We don't need your fucking commie asses in the state of Ohio. We don't need to put up with your communist bullshit anymore in this state, or this country for that matter anymore, dude. Enough is enough of this shit. But, yeah, so basically they were bitching and moaning back in December of last year about like, oh, it's so wrong for them to pass constitutional carry and people's constitutional rights and everything else like that through on the day of the anniversary. And it's like, no, it's not. You're just a bunch of tragedy pimps that can go fuck off is what it is. But anyway, the entire point is, so you had that happen, and then January happened. They were passing through House chamber and Senate chamber and everything else like that. Eventually going into February, it became a, constant thing there is what it was. Of, hey, is it finally going to get through these committees? Is it finally going to get to chambers, everything else like that? And then eventually in March it did, and it eventually got to DeWine's desk. He signed into law then. And then obviously, June 13th, it officially became law in the state of Ohio. So it's been just over 6 months now that we've had constitutional carry. I was on the phone every day, pretty much all day long for months on end there, calling up state reps, state senators, all that stuff like that, dude. Doing what I needed to do under the then Ohioans for Firearms Freedom moniker. And then, obviously under the old YouTube moniker, which I'm not going to go into detail on that one. That we eventually changed to Ohio Patriot Education Network this year because of a fallout that I had with some of the 2A community and stuff like that. And I'm not really going to talk about much about that, honestly. But, yeah, that happened back in April over some stuff. Because apparently people think it's okay to shit on white people is what it is, dude. And that's all I'll leave about that, honestly, is what it is, dude. And I'm kind of sick and tired of it, honestly, in this country. So, yeah, needless to say, that's basically the fallout that happened there. Everything I said that's out there in the ether is all factual, historical statements is what it is, dude. And if people have a problem with that, then they can fuck themselves. And it's really as simple as that, honestly. Then in May, was still kind of dealing with the fallout of that shit. June happened. Came back, became a Ohio Patriot Education Network. doing some stuff there. July, started fighting very heavily for Second Amendment Preservation Act to get through the state of Ohio, which never happened, unfortunately. We're also fighting very heavily for uh, them to finally ban CRT and 1619 and stuff like that in school systems and actually have parental rights in this state right now. I'm not actually sure if those ever passed or not. I think they got to the point where they were going to pass them. If they ever passed them in the actual like big like 16, 17-hour session they had there though. But either way, if they didn't, I'm going to find out about that. And that's one thing we'll be fighting for legitimately in 2023. That's what it'll be. But yeah, that was basically most of the summertime when they were doing breaks and stuff like that. And then to the fall when they came back in. Most recently here in December, we were fighting against SB 375, which was the piece of shit bill that Matt Dolan shoved through at the very tail end of our General Assembly that was anti-gun crap for both Bloomberg and everybody else for that matter. Thank God we defeated that one. I was able to get on the horn enough times to people that were in that finance committee and be like, hey, if you do this, I will personally sue the shit out of you at this point. And those are not veiled threats, by the way. I would sue the fuck out of every single one of these people at this point because I'm sick and tired of it, dude. It's disgusting that you have a sworn oath to office that you are continuously breaking and not being thrown the fuck out of office for, is what it is. It's absolutely disgusting, dude, that these people are allowed to get away with that kind of crap. Oath breaking itself should be at least a 5th-degree felony in the state of Ohio and across this nation for that matter. And I would say deprivation of rights or color of law should definitely be a 1st-degree felony and potential life imprisonment for that matter. Because when you're knowingly breaking not only your oath to office, but also trying to deprive people of their constitutional rights to keep and bear arms in this country, as well as potentially their ability to walk freely because you want to red flag them and destroy their life and their livelihood and everything else like that, and potentially lock them up for some bullshit charges. No, you don't need to be out of prison anymore after that, dude. So, anyway. But yeah, we we fought a lot this year, dude. We fought for, constitutional carry, which we got. I tried to get on lawmakers about reintroducing all throughout the year a better version of stand your ground again, because what we have right now is just expand the castle doctrine. We have no legal ability to fight back against people civilly lawsuiting someone for, standing their ground is what it is, which again, how is that stand your ground? Then it's not. The entire point of stand your ground is to not be able to be civilly lawsuited if you have to, take someone's life or injure someone that's trying to harm you is what it is. And that's the big problem right now. When you have people that want to sit there and continuously fuck around and then be able to sue you because you defended yourself against them or their family, that's bullshit entirely, dude. It's absolute bullshit entirely. But yeah, needless to say, I'm going to talk to some new lawmakers about that this coming year, about reintroducing the Candace Keller Ron Hood version of Stand Your Ground from the 2019-2020 legislative season. And hopefully that'll get reintroduced then, and people actually will do their job this go around then and get it through chambers very quickly. I'm also going to, like I said, work on some other stuff. I'm trying to. Sorry, my internet for some reason is becoming unstable. I'm not sure if it's actually allowing me to speak through this or not. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, the shit's being unstable or whatever here and there. It did the same thing about a half hour ago at the end of Honda's chat there. But yeah, needless to say, as I was saying though, it becomes a whole situation of having to deal with tyranny every day in this country, state, federal, local, all of it, dude. And it's one of those things where it's like the fact that you have to pay money to go fight on behalf of your and everyone else's rights is absolutely ridiculous entirely, dude. And again, it's just a government cash grab again, is what it is, dude. It's the exact same thing with concealed carry permit holding in this country. It's nothing more than a fucking cash grab. And when you actually talk to people about that stuff, and you actually understand that like the entire system was set up to be nothing more than a bunch of BS is what it is. It's fucking irritating, dude, is what it is, you know? And that's really what it is at the end of the day, you know? But yeah, needless to say, like I said, you know, fought very hard this year actually in 2022 for constitutionalism and constitutional rights and everything else like that, dude. The fact that I was actively battling a mix between COVID and bronchitis all throughout January of 2022, and I was still fighting for 2A rights back then and everything else for that matter. It's like, you know, there's a lot to be said about that, dude. There's a lot to be said about that. And then to have, you know, like I said, a couple months later, people turn their backs on me and, you know, show their true colors what it was, honestly, in my opinion. You know, I always like I've had talks with people in the past when I started getting into 2A rights and constitutionalism and stuff like that back in 2019 after the Dayton massacre. And there was people then that were like, dude, you got to watch because there's a lot of fake trits in the 2A community and stuff like that. And they're right. They're right. And I found out about that firsthand, honestly, dude. Like, oh my God, say something about the left and have people freak the fuck out over it. Tell the truth about things. And oh my God, everybody loses their fucking minds. And that's what it was at the end of the day. So, yeah. What I said was nothing more than the truth, dude. If people don't like the truth, that's their fucking problem. You know? But, yeah, I definitely think a lot of things are going to change here come 2023. I think we're going to see a very big pendulum swing in this country come the new year. And I believe that we're definitely going to see a lot of interestingness happen, you know, whether it be a, God, let's try to thought now. Yeah, whether it be, you know, balkanization event or a Great Depression kicking off, some kind of hyperinflation, Venezuela style, something like that. I don't know, you know, it's a scary thing to think about, honestly. It's a scary thing to think about when you're, you know, having to deal with everything right now, dude. And it's like, of course, they're trying to grab guns all the time. Of course, you now have federally, they're trying to do, you got fucking mainstream media trying to be like, oh, well, now they just need to go after bullets and bullet control and stuff like that. It's like, how about you go fuck yourselves, mainstream media? How about you forever now lose the ability of freedom of the press because you're not fucking press anymore? You're just a bunch of activist assholes that want to claim journalist integrity when you don't have it. When you're literally bought and paid for by 6 giant corporations is what the issue is right there. Like, that's my biggest fucking problem with the mainstream media right now in a nutshell, dude. And then, of course, they're trying to push that JCPA media cartel bill shit at the end of the year here as well, which thank God that got shut the fuck down. But even still, it's a whole situation that you have everything happening in this crazy ass vacuum of just constant rights erosion. And it's something that, you know, looking back 4, 5, 6 years now, when I started to talk about stuff on this channel, when it came during Trump's presidency and stuff like that, when I used to do a lot of stuff, when it came to, you know, the old Make America Sane Again series, when it came to Massa Extras and stuff like that, and then eventually, you know, other things throughout that time period underneath other monikers, and now eventually here to the Grandstands, you just see how much they are grabbing, dude, and we are never getting back. And it's why I fight. It's why I look for others to fight. Because if you're not going to fight, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Seriously. You know, you look at Washington State, you look at Oregon this year. You got people in both of those states being like, oh, I'm not too worried about them pushing gun control here when they have literally fucking Democrat gerrymandered to the point where they have supermajorities in those states. And then all of a sudden you have shit like magazine bans in Washington State. Then you got fucking ballot measure 114 in Oregon. Bought and paid for by Bloomberg, Giffords, etc. That passed literally by 0.5% of a fucking vote. That should have never even been allowed to be on a fucking ballot to begin with because it directly infringed upon the constitutional rights of American citizens. Specifically, the only amendment that cannot be infringed upon. And it's like, dude, the fuck? And this is what pisses me off so much when I look at all these lawsuits that come from places like Gunners of America or Firearms Policy Coalition or whatever the case be. They should be fighting every single gun control lawsuit on the fact that it is under Marbury versus Madison, 1803. Anything that can be looked at as if it was unconstitutional should be looked at as never written to begin with. And when you start looking at stuff that was never written to begin with, you can toss every piece of anti-gun legislation out of the fucking window, dude. Everything from the National Firearms Act to the Hughes Amendment to the 68 Gun Control Act to everything else for that matter. Patriot Act, fucking NDAA, all that crap, dude. All out the fucking window because it's all unconstitutional. Should literally be looked at as a blank fucking canvas. Period. And the fact that we are not doing these kind of lawsuits at this point is what pisses me the fuck off. Because honestly, if I had millions and millions or billions of dollars right now, if I had Bloomberg money, dude, I would be filing these lawsuits fucking daily. I would become the new Heller at this point, dude. I would be suing the shit out of fucking everybody. Constantly. And it's like the same exact thing when you have Bloomberg and company go after gun manufacturers, ammo manufacturers now, or magazine manufacturers, and are trying to sue them. We should be countersuing the fucking shit out of Bloomberg or Giffords or anybody else doing that shit, dude. Everytown, Brady campaign, all those fucking people, dude. Which, by the way, when you look into Bloomberg's actual thing right now, it's not only Bloomberg, Everytown, Moms Demand Action, Students Demand Action. It's also the Brady campaign. It's also everything else like that. It's the Mayor's Alliance crap. It's all that shit, dude. It's all a bunch of various shell companies for a literal scumbag motherfucking billionaire who most likely is a child molester. Michael Bloomberg probably does rape kids, dude. And the fact that you have this motherfucker walking around trying to disarm the rest of us when his bitch ass is walking around with fucking 10, 15 armed guards with him every single fucking day of his worthless ass life. He can go fuck himself, dude, for real. The same thing with that fucking cunt Shannon Watts, too, for that matter. She is one of the worst human beings ever, dude. She literally worked for Monsanto, killing people with GMOs and genetically engineered bullshit, dude, and all kinds of pesticides and chemicals and stuff like that, and then went to go work for Bloomberg after the fact. The fact that both those people are not serving minimum life imprisonment right now is everything wrong with this country. Especially when they and their organizations are literally bribing state officials and federal congressmen and senators. Like, bro, how the fuck are you still out of prison after that? Like, it just blows my mind. It just absolutely blows my mind. And this is why I fight. This is why I do these grandstands, man. Because I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of all of it. You know, and that's the big thing. When Ohio finally got constitutional carry this year back in March, you know, I took a breather for a good day or two. Like, it was like this big old fucking rock on my chest, really. That entire time of just pure anxiety, where I was like, are they finally going to pass? Are they finally going to pass it? Are my rights finally going to be actually in place then? And then finally they passed, and I'm just like, huge sigh of relief for like several days. And then, of course, you know, a month or so down the line, now all of a sudden it's, oh, now we got to fight against this bullshit gun control that they tried to push through the General Assembly again, or this or that, or something else for that matter. And it's like, no, remove these fucking people from office. Like, kick them the fuck out, dude. Matt Dolan should not be a sitting state senator anymore, dude, at this point. Allison Russo and Casey Weinstein, etc., from the Democrat Party in the state of Ohio should not be sitting state reps right now. Allison Russo sure as shit should not be the fucking minority person, the House Minority Leader, whatever the case be, come 2023. She should be in fucking jail right now, dude, for literally taking bribes from Moms Demand Action in May of 2021 at a House Oversight Committee hearing where they were talking about constitutional carry that day. She accepted this fat fucking envelope full of cash from a Moms Demand Action member That right there should have been investigated on the fucking spot, and she should have been tossed out of our General Assembly and potentially been catching charges for bribery, dude. The fact that it was never even investigated is what pisses me the fuck off, because then going back and looking at exactly why I attempted to run for governor in 2018 and then was going to do it again here in 2022 before I, failed to do that stuff, and then was going to run for a whole thing other than that as a state senator. But of course that fell through because of the fact that you had fucking whole bunch of censorship and tech monopolies and stuff like that. The entire point is, though, this is why I've been doing this shit, dude. Because you have so much corruption in this state. From both major parties, for that matter, by the way. It's not just Democrats, it's Republicans too, man. Because it's a bunch of old rhino fucks that want to sit there for 25, 30 years, keep defying our actual term limits on both sides of our General Assembly, and just keep flip-flopping from House to Senate or Senate to House. It's like, no, get the fuck out. You have been here for 8 years already. Leave. Let somebody else have this fucking seat. That's not a corrupt piece of fucking shit. Go get a real fucking job, you lazy motherfuckers. But of course you're not going to, because again, they want to have that fucking government job where they pay no taxes, where they fucking have all kinds of fucking free time whenever the fuck they want it for, a month or two here and there and everything else like that throughout the year. And then you wonder why the Ohio General Assembly goes all throughout the fucking year. It's because these fuckers are taking breaks for 2 and 3 months at a fucking time. Legitimately, this past summer, they took like a 2.5 month break, and then they took another one between fucking Halloween and Thanksgiving. And they took another one at fucking Thanksgiving time period, and they took another one for fucking Christmas. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, get back to fucking work. Do some goddamn work, or don't get fucking paid. Like, goddamn, people, seriously, fuck. And it's not even like they're not getting paid like a ton of fucking money. They're getting paid like $60-something thousand a year. And God forbid you're the fucking head of one of these committees, dude. You get another 10 grand on top of that. She got people making $70-something fucking thousand a year for being a sitting state rep or a sitting state senator. And it's like, you're all getting paid too much. Seriously. So it's like the same exact thing federally, dude. $174,000 a year. Fuck that. That should be like fucking $174 a fucking month is what it is, honestly. Go get a real job. This should be your secondary job. So, anyway. But yeah, needless to say, then we had midterm elections here where we got a bunch of new state reps in place right now. You got that ass clown Mom's Man Action member Rachel Baker, who I talked about in one of the last grandstands, falsely claiming that she flipped a seat there in Hamilton County, which she didn't, by the way. That was only a toss-up county at that point. Could have gone either way. And if I'm not mistaken, it was not held by Republicans before that. It was actually one of the Democrat seats before that, even. It just happened to be redistricted a little bit to like another county or something like that. Or not another county, but another township within the county is what it was that was added to it that was Republican or something like that. And that's why she's like, oh, it was flipped blue. It's like, no, it wasn't, you dumb bitch. And again, this is why I'm seriously going to start working on the one county, one rep thing here in Ohio, dude. There is zero reason for us to have 99 people in our state house right now when you have 88 counties. And it's the exact same thing with our state senate right now when you have 33 jackasses in place for 88 counties. No, it should be legitimately about a fourth of that. It should be like 22 roughly, because it should be one for every 4 counties then in our state senate. I could see maybe having 23 actually, because then you would just have like the Senate president person or whatever the case be. And then it would be the other 22 would be the actual county holders and stuff like that, because the Senate president themselves would not actually be a thing for the overall deal. And it would kind of be the same thing, honestly, in my opinion, for the people representing the counties. We could even have an 89th person for that matter in the state rep seat, because it would be a thing there as a situation of that would be the Speaker of the House then. Which, by the way, both of those positions, both at the state and a federal level, should be voted on by we the people at this point. It's ridiculous they're not, honestly. It's ridiculous that federally you got fucking asshole Kevin McCarthy, one of the biggest piece of shit rhinos from California, being like, oh, I'm about to take the speakership now. And it's like, dude, Jim Jordan, the only good congressman out of the state of Ohio, needs to be fucking Speaker of the House federally come 2023. Period. Because he's the one that actually gives a fuck about constitutional rights, everything else for that matter, dude. McCarthy has done nothing except fuck us in the ass continuously for decades now. He's nothing more than Pelosi light, is what it is, dude. You can't sit here and honestly tell me that a Republican from the state of California actually respects the constitutional oath they've sworn to uphold, dude. Because they don't. Almost none of them do, man. Almost all of them break it on a daily basis, for that matter. And I guarantee when you start looking at Kevin McCarthy's insider trading too, man, he's done that shit like crazy as well, just like Pelosi, dude. It's just not as well known because people aren't looking at him as much as what it is. So, anyway. And yeah, I will 100% agree with that one. Abrams, Warnock, and Ossoff should all be in prison right now. John Ossoff and Randolph Warnock both stole Senate seats in the U.S. Senate with 2,000 Mules stuff. Same thing with Biden and presidency. Stacey Abrams committed a massive voter fraud in both the 2018 and 2022 midterms in Georgia. And the fact that Brian Kemp, as governor, has not thrown her ass in prison at this point is ridiculous, dude. And I wouldn't even say Kemp for that matter. I'd say the fucking lieutenant governor of Georgia should do it too as well for that matter, dude. Like, how the hell is this woman still walking free at this point, dude? When you can prove that she was literally taking big-ass ballot boxes in 2018 out of fucking cars and airports and stuff like that and being like, oh, hey, we found some more ballots for me. It's like, fuck off, Stacey. Seriously. It's ridiculous, man. But, anyway, I think they're really trying to prime Abrams for a fucking 2024 run at this point, dude. Probably a VP pick from Michelle Obama or something like that would be my guess. Good old Big Mike, because that's pretty much all they got at this point, dude. Actually, since we're doing a year in review at this point, we're going to go over to Breitbart for a minute here, since we are in December. Pope Benedict apparently has died at the age of 95, and he was bad health. We also got Barbara Walters passing away yesterday at 93. She was an old propagandist for sure, dude. There was some YouTube kid who died at 27, probably from the jibbity jabs. And I know that Don West, who was one of the announcers for wrestling, recently passed from some kind of brain tumor or something like that. So that's pretty crazy, man. But yeah, like I was saying here, you got fucking jackass McCarthy. Growing number of Republicans vow to only vote for McCarthy for speaker race. McCarthy, first thing we're going to do is repeal the 87,000 IRS agents. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy, when you don't control both fucking chambers. Seriously. How about this, McCarthy? How about you just say the entire omnibus bill is null and void because Biden's a fucking cheater, and you immediately, if you were to become Speaker of the House, take the fucking presidency. Remove Kamala by the 14th Amendment of the Constitution for being anchor baby in this country. Remove Biden to the 25th. And actually amend the 25th for that matter to legitimately talk about him stealing a fucking presidency and see what them in prison after the fact, dude. And then you would be president for a little bit of time, as it would be. Actually, that would be a way to get Trump back in for 2 years. You would just have McCarthy essentially say, hey, Donald Trump is now the VP here. I'm officially resigning as president of the United States. President Trump is now back in office. And then Trump can actually run for a second term then and be a 10-year president. I obviously kid because fuck Trump at this point too, man. He's a fucking idiot as well. Stop voting in old people, man. Seriously. Like, it's time for young people to take back things. And when I say young people, I mean like 30s, 40s, somewhere in there to be in those positions of power, man. People that aren't on various, dementia drugs or all kinds of medications and stuff like that. People who are actually healthy enough to be in those positions of power, dude. So, anyway, honestly, personally, if I was to pick a president right now for 2024, I would like to see Kristi Noem as the first female president in this country because she's an actual constitutionalist. She was the only governor in this nation that never shut down her state during the 2020 lockdowns. She was the only one that abided by her constitutional oath to office, is what it was. And, yeah, needless to say, I think she's one of the better ones. DeSantis is trying to make a run right now. He did a bunch of shady shit though, man. He locked down just like everybody else does. What it is, man. So yeah, and then they got apparently a measles outbreak here in the state of Ohio, almost in the Columbus area. What they don't tell you about this whole thing though is that the whole measles outbreak, people are all like, "Oh, more than half were unvaccinated." It's like, no, more than half are illegal aliens in the state of Ohio right now, dude. Seriously, it's a bunch of little kids from overseas, man. Yeah, 82 children, including 32, have been hospitalized. Investigating November 9th after a child became infected. Daycare facility in Franklin County, where Columbus is located. In the next few weeks, cases were reported at a mall, a church, a Dollar Tree. There were 4 cases reported measles at the time. As affected, 54 patients were between the ages of 1 and 5. 23 are under 1 year old, and 5 are 6 years old or older. Yeah, again, and where are they all coming from? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's fucking Biden's midnight flights, dude, of various people from overseas and other nations in Central America like that. It's like, stop letting illegals into our fucking country, and that shit ain't gonna happen, dude. You know, this is bioterrorism at this point. It really is, man. It needs to be treated as such. The same fucking thing with all these goddamn Chinese foreign nationals, dude, that are trying to fly everywhere now and spread everything else like that with fucking random COVID variants and shit like that. It's bioterrorism, dude. It needs to be treated as such. So, anyway, that being said, that's pretty much where we're at for the day, though. Like I said, just want to do this year-end review. That's what it was. I feel good about what I've done, what I've accomplished this year, and I will be very much trying to fight tyranny again in about 4 days, come the 4th of January, when we have a new Ohio General Assembly. Jesus. It's like I can't ever catch a break, man. It's one of those things, man. It's like a lifetime grind now. And the worst thing is I'm not getting paid for it. You know, that is the worst thing, honestly, at this point. Like, is trying to put money together to go down there and testify and stuff like that and various things, and not even be able to get down there to do anything because, again, can't afford to. It sucks, man. But I will throw the link in the back for the back chat if anyone wants to come in here for about 5-10 minutes. I'll be here for about at least that long because I'm going to be doing some gaming stuff and I'll be getting ready for Honda's later chat. He's going to be doing here in the next couple hours, I'm guessing. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much where we're at for the day. Till later, I will see you guys in 2023.